else in there.
Hold on. I see it. Back it up.
There's jellyfish right
It's
there.
happening. Hold on.
Don't go right there.
Okay, let's do this. There's a horseshoe crab. All right, in this episode, I'm able to show you some
It's a beauty.
See what happened? Hold on. Wait for the wind to die down. It's right there, where there's a little cloud right there.
How about the jellyfish?
Okay, there, right there. You can see its shell that's coming right your way. It's actually right in your shadow. Back up. Grab this side. Oh, no, this side here. It's right. Okay. Now look.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so hold on. I do this.
Go get it.
You don't want to touch it. The bottom's
It's
gonna
right there. It's right there.
make it really cloudy.
Okay.
I can go in.
You can go into it,
Oh,
right?
you can go to that, yeah.
But there's jellyfish.
Come in. Hold on. People can look actually.
Nice and cold.
No.
No.
Okay, gotta walk slowly. It's right here.
Get it.
Okay, hold on.
That is so crazy.
Okay, hold on.
It's up on a jellyfish.
Okay, we are live
So I can
across
just,
all
like, I can
platforms.
just pick it up.
people.
Yeah, you pick it right up. With 2 hands or 1 hand. They don't move.
Oh, okay, put his head under.
Look at this.
Not his whole head. Oh my god.
Run away from him. There it is.
Oh my. No.
It's
Holy cow! Hold on.
it's actually amazing.
See that?
Let me get to the
That's
part
what I was
where
picturing.
Like a good replacement
Look
for
at this.
human blood, or they have
Look at this.
They're good for doing experiments on because
look at this
their
prehistoric
blood is
animal.
like human blood, or very similar. Look at this.
Can I hold it?
Yeah, flip it up like that. Careful.
Look at
Oh,
this
my
prehistoric
goodness. So,
animal.
it's not like a venomous tail. They use it to. Holy crap!
Holy crab apples. There we go here. Look at this thing.
I know there's so many jellyfish.
I'll put it back. Oh, so I'll let it go back. I won't put it
And then watch what happens as it goes back into the water.
Off you
It's
go.
a,
Look at
it's,
this.
a, it's a trilobite.
Started moving
It's a
very
living
fast.
trilobite.
Look at that. And now
Gone.
disappear.
There it goes.
It doesn't. I see.
That is totally cool.
Amazing. Amazing. I mean, I've seen horseshoe crabs at aquariums. Just going to make sure the camera's good. I've seen horseshoe crabs at aquariums. We're sitting on this dock in the Florida Keys, and my kid's like, there's a stingray in the water. I'm like, stingray, stay the hell away from it. It's like, that's not a stingray. That's a freaking horseshoe crab. And it's walking around, like it's just crawling along the bottom of the ocean and going through the weeds like a rhomba. It looks like and acts like God's rhomba, except instead of like just gathering dirt that you then throw it in a garbage, it picks up the dirt from the ocean floor, converts it into energy, and that's how the cosmos works. It's an absolute mind-blowing experience to see prehistory in real time, but also just to understand how amazing nature is. Like, we make rhombas for our house, and occasionally, every now and again, they go and roll over dog poop, and then you have to throw the rhomba out because they never get clean after. That true story happened to us. The horseshoe crab is God's rhomba. Goes along the bottom of the ocean, and you lift it up, and it looks like a robot. It looks like something out of, it actually looks like that thing that they put in Neo's belly button in The Matrix 1. So anyways, I also started with that video so that I could go and, oh, is it a Roomba? It's a Roomba, not a Rhomba, whatever. Romba's a dance, I guess. The Roomba, thank you. Who said that? Radagast started with a bit of a longer opening so I could make sure that I'm live across all of the platforms of the interwebs where Viva Fry streams. We are live on YouTube, Twitter, Rumble, and vivabarneslaw.locals.com. At some point in this stream, we're probably going to end it on YouTube and Twitter and go over to Rumble and vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Vote with our eyeballs, vote with our dollars, vote with our feet, and support the platforms that support free speech. Because today, is there anybody out there who doesn't know that Google owns YouTube? You have the largest search engine in the world, a monopoly of sorts, that owns the largest video hosting platform on earth, a monopoly of sorts, and engages in some potentially questionable monopolistic practices by way of directing traffic from the search engine to its own owned video platform, YouTube, redirecting away from more relevant search results to Rumble. So if you didn't know that, Google owns YouTube, or Alphabet owns YouTube. And so what you have is basically the largest search engine on earth owns the largest video hosting platform on earth. up to some serious chicanery, and we're going to talk about some of this chicanery, which has come to a head. Just yesterday, Judge Mehta, I forget his first name, but it's kind of meta that you have Judge Mehta spanking down Google, Mehta, M-E-H-T-A, rendering a decision declaring Google guilty of monopolistic practices, which then led to them bilking their advertisers by charging them more as a result of their unscrupulous exploitation of their monopolistic practices by tying in their search engine to devices across the interwebs. Okay, before we get too far in, I'm going to thank our sponsor of today's show, but I want to make sure the audio is good, guys. It's as good as it's going to get. I'm on the road, and the lighting is very romantic. It looks like it's midnight, and we're having a nice whatever. It's actually 12:30, and I'm going to stay out of the sunlight at least for the next hour and a half, 2 hours. So it's good. I'll go live during the day because we got lots to talk about. Actually, let me just see if I can. I'm live now if you can make it on. Smiley face. We got lots to talk about. I don't know if Tommy Robinson is going to make it on today, but he's going to come on sooner than later because we got to know what the hell is going on in the UK, although I'm going to touch on it today. Google, Jamie Raskin, what did I see here? The man is trying to provoke people into doing something stupid, so don't let him do it. Jamie Raskin looks like Templeton the Rat from Charlotte's Web. I have to go watch that cartoon again, I guess. Thank you very much for that. And what do we got here? Oh, we got Lord of the Ree doesn't like Raskin very much. Nobody likes him. More like Jamie Raskin, am I right? Chlorophyll, more like borophyll. Jamie Raskin, more like Jamie Ratskin. All right. Before we get into anything, let me go back to the chat. Audio's as good as it's going to get. Video's good. And we're live. Before we get into anything, because we're going to talk about the government and how, Jamie Ratskin talking about how they're going, when Trump gets elected, his mobs of angry supporters are going to be real pissed when Congress says, sorry, your guy's been disqualified because we're trying it again. Before we get into the dirty, rotten scoundrels that is the government, across the world, by the way, pretty much everywhere. And I appreciate Trump was in the government as well. There are, better and worse actors occasionally. But by and large, government, as I've been telling my kid, is an evil. I say it's a necessary evil to some extent, but it's a necessary evil that must be kept as small as humanly possible, not turned into the mega employer that the United States federal government has turned into. They employ 2.8 million people, civilians. Doesn't include military, doesn't include contractors. 2.8 million civilian employees for the federal government of the United States of America. Remember George Washington, small government, avoid foreign conflict. What have you got now? The exact opposite, and what you've got now is a corrupt government. Moderna scores federal funding for mRNA bird flu vaccine as pandemic fears grow. I'm sure you've heard the news. I'm sure you understand that there will be the next thing coming, and the next thing that's coming is pandemic, war, whatever. America, pay attention. We are living in perilous times. Assassination attempts, coups to take over our government, cybersecurity threats, and we're just heating up. Now Forbes just put out an article about our government is handing out a $176 million, whatever the hell they're giving, to Moderna to whip up another mRNA bird flu vaccine because the first mRNA vaccine worked ever so well. I guess it did work well, depending on your goals. They're gearing up for the next big pandemic, and we can't trust the establishment with our health any longer. We must take matters into our own hands. I'm protecting my family with a contagion emergency kit from the wellness company, and now you can too. The kit is no joke. It's prescription, so you got to go online, fill it out. Only available in America, unfortunately. It's your frontline defense against whatever they throw at us next. It comes packed with ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, Z-Pak, Tamiflu, budesonide, along with a nebulizer, so you can rest easy knowing that you have the emergency meds on hand, along with a guidebook for safe use. Every family in America should have at least one of these kits. It's like having an urgent care in the comfort of your own home. Get your contagion emergency kit for as low as a cost of a singles doctor visit in America. And at the end of the day, just have these life-saving medications on hand and you won't have to think about it. Be proactive, be prepared, and take control of your health. Don't wait for the next health crisis. Go to twc.health/Viva, the wellness company, Tango, Whiskey, Charlie.health/Viva. Grab your contagion emergency kit now and you get $30 off at checkout. Kits are only available in these United States of America. And for anybody who has forgotten about what the website looks like, let's look at it. just bring it up one more time. It's got the beautiful logo, twc.health/Viva. Pick yours up today, people. Link is in the description as well. Now, this is water. I haven't gotten smaller, people. This is I guess you're supposed to drink more than one beer out of this. Sorry, I went for a jog this morning, 5.5 miles, give or take, in the sweltering Florida Keys heat. It's so hot. It's like you can't maintain. I think I did it still. I did 5.5 miles in, I want to say 35 minutes. Is that possible? 9, 10, maybe it was 40 minutes. I haven't been able to replenish myself with fluids adequately. I got back, I climbed a coconut tree, hacked down a bunch of coconuts and had 4 fresh coconut juice things along with a bunch of water, and I still haven't replenished myself. Oh, who's Jenna Ellis, says David Calico. You know what? We're going to start with Jenna Ellis today. I mean, I am, I don't want to say this. People are going to think that like I'm becoming religious. I'm not becoming religious. I think I've always been spiritual, I guess. I can definitively say that I do believe in a God. It's a non-religious God, or at least it's not specific to any one denomination. And I believe sincerely in my heart of hearts, and I'm not going to get, what's the word, preachy. I sincerely, genuinely believe that we saw an act of God, divine intervention, when Trump turned his head 1/4 millimeter or whatever the hell he did and escaped getting assassinated in the most graphically violent way on live television. It would have plunged us into the World War III that the powers that be still seem hell-bent on bringing us into. And in our locals community, I said I went for a jog, tried to clear my mind. I'm still a little pissed off. I predicted Waltz was going to be the pick. And then at the last minute, I got fearful and I rolled over my profits of Waltz into Shapiro, thinking, Shapiro's the deep state pick. He's, Alex Soros approved Pennsylvania. That's where the next announcement is going to be. Last minute, just change. Bam. Irritated. Doesn't matter. Our government, and I refer to the American government as mine now because I live here and pay taxes here. The current administration, the current powers that be, the current political elite seem hell-bent on driving us into World War III. And I believe that what we saw when Trump moved his head was an aversion, if only temporary, and God willing, it'll be permanent, an aversion of descending into the cataclysmic disaster of a World War III. Had he been shot, it would have been the Franz Ferdinand 2.0 execution that led to the next Great War. For those who don't know, Franz Ferdinand was next in line to be the heir of Austro-Hungarian Empire. I get mixed up with the names. He was killed, assassinated after having survived the first one in the same evening, killed, and then you just had the domino effect of alliances, global powers fighting over dominance, descending into World War III, 4 years long, changed the shape of the earth, led to World War II. So in as much as I don't necessarily believe, I mean, we saw an act of divine intervention there. We say that despite the fact that Corey Camperatori died, was killed, was murdered. You cannot necessarily control the acts of evil, but every now and again you'll have what is a miraculous aversion of even greater evil that would have absolutely necessarily ensued had Trump gotten killed. I was segueing this somehow into Jenna Ellis. I forget. I'll get there anyhow. But Jenna Ellis, the powers that be trying to drive us into World War III. Oh, I see on Twitter yesterday these lefty troll hacks that they're only existing on Twitter to piss people off and to make people angry. And one of them says, Jenna flipped. Now they got Trump. I'm like, what the hell? I say, what the hell? Because Jenna flipped a long time ago. And now I remember the whole segue here. Jenna flipped a long time ago when she copped that deal out in Georgia, pleaded guilty to some minor charges. We'll get her entire guilty thing expunged so there will be nothing on a record, whatever. And a lot of people said she betrayed Trump. She betrayed the cause that she represented. She bore false witness to herself. And I agreed with that. I did say, however, no one has ever been under such circumstances, and I'll be very reluctant to judge Jenna Ellis deciding to self-preserve as opposed to, subject herself to the lawfare abuse that we've seen Trump and others go through for the last 4 years. So I said, like, I don't know what I would do under those circumstances. I'd like to think I'd be brave, courageous, and stick the middle finger up to the corrupt regime that's trying to break me. Jenna didn't. And this is where the whole not being religious thing comes in. I'll be very reluctant to judge Jenna. But when I see on Twitter yesterday, Jenna flipped and she, oh my goodness, it's the end of Trump. I'm like, well, she flipped a long time ago. What's the news? And for those of you who don't know the news, it seems that, this is the irony of bending the knee to the corrupt regime. They don't see bending the knee as an act of submission that leads to forgiveness. They see bending the knee as an act of submission that will lead to more abuse. Jenna Ellis thought she was going to, there's so many things where she got into the bar issues. She got into trouble with her law license and figured, at least I'll keep my license and I'll accept the flagellation and, say whatever, just don't take my license away. I want to continue practicing. All right, I'll say whatever in Georgia. Just give me a lesser deal and I can walk and I'll cooperate. I'll bend the knee yet again. And surely the regime will then leave me alone. Or at least maybe I'll be an ally of the regime. No. When you bend the knee and you show weakness, they know who they can go and beat on some more. And they went ahead and beat on Jenna Ellis some more. Here. Arizona, for those of you who don't know. Arizona, they have another fake, they call it fake. And for anybody who calls it fake, I call you dumb and brainwashed. You're an idiot. You are either an idiot or a liar. Neither are good. And if you're both, my goodness, congratulations. You've won the stupid lottery for the day. Referring to the fake electors as fake electors makes you an idiot or a liar because at no point in any time were any of those electors fake. I'm not going to pull up the definition of fake. You know what? I am. Hold on. Fake. It's so stupid. Fake definition. Here. Fake. Not genuine. Counterfeit. A thing that is not genuine, a forgery or a sham. Forge or counterfeit something. I'm not trying to be pedantic. Pedantic. There was nothing fake about the alternate slate of electors that were submitting their alternate slate of electors on the basis that the original electors were the result of a fraudulent election. Nothing fake about it. They weren't lying about their names. They weren't forging someone else's signature. They weren't saying that they were the original electors. They were presenting themselves authentically exactly as what they were. Alternate slate of electors on the basis that the original slate was the product, was the fruit of fraud. Which many believe it was. Because it was. Nothing about the Dominion, Hugo Chavez, whatever. It was the result of fraud, if only, and only based on one thing which we all acknowledge happened and happened the way we know it happened. The Hunter Biden laptop suppression, lying about intelligence, and social media censorship. That alone swung the election, which means that the election was the result of fraud. And the alternate slate of electors come in and say, we are the slate of electors that should be recognized, not the original ones. So there's nothing fake about it. And if you say fake electors, you're an idiot. And anybody who says fake electors should be called an idiot. Now, there might be a more loving way to get them to come aboard. No, you see, Democrat Jimmy, they weren't fake. You could try to convince them, but they're idiots. And they don't want to know. They just want to abuse. But so that's what's going on. Former Trump attorney, this is Jenna Ellis, agrees to cooperation agreement in Arizona fake elector case. This is from yesterday. And then they're going back to her groveling before the court, sobbing. If I had known now what I knew, if I had known then what I knew now, I wouldn't have done. I'm very reluctant to make fun of her. I'm very reluctant to judge her. But the irony is that she is seeing what happens by begging forgiveness to people who will never forgive her and will only take that act of submission and beat her over the back with it, as they're continuing to do. Here. I thought a one-time attorney. Hold on. Is this writing very small? That's very small for me. Yeah. A one-time attorney for former President Donald Trump has agreed to a cooperation agreement with the Arizona Attorney General in the state's fake electors case. Jenna Ellis, an attorney in Trump's 2020, one of 18 individuals charged in April for allegedly scheming to undermine President Bush's victory in Arizona and deliver the state's 11 electoral votes to Trump. Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays announced on Monday that Ellis agreed to cooperate with prosecutors and is willing to testify in court. In exchange, the state will drop the 9 felonies, including fraud and conspiracy charges against her. I will not donate to your website, sir. Remember, they did the same thing to her in Georgia. And we're going to see where that prosecution is going to go. She's going to plead guilty to a case that's going to ultimately be dismissed on the merits. So congrats. I mean, bear false witness to yourself, and that's what happens. This agreement represents a significant step forward in our case, Mays said in a statement. I am grateful to Ms. Ellis for her cooperation with our investigation and prosecution. Her insights are invaluable and will greatly aid the state in proving its case in court. In a statement, lawyers representing Ellis continued to claim that she was not involved in the fake elector scheme. We are grateful the Arizona Attorney General's office completely dismissed the indictment against Jenna Ellis as she was not involved in the so-called fake elector scheme. Attorney Matt Brown, they wrote, Jenna was originally told she was not a target, and her cooperation is her continued willingness to tell the truth. Ella, please. Then they go into the, according to the indictment, 11 of the individuals charged in this case, including former Arizona Republican Party chair Kel Ward, and states signed fraudulent documents claiming Trump won Arizona's electoral votes. Other Trump allies, including Mark Meadows and Rudy Giuliani, also face charges. She pleaded last year in Georgia the Fulton County decision in the subversion case. We saw how that went. So she is now promising to cooperate, to tell the truth. We saw from the proffer videos from a while back, last year, I think, where she was citing as evidence that Trump was never going to leave the White House and that he couldn't just do it. She was saying that Trump had asserted that he would never leave the White House because at a Christmas party, one of them said, yeah, we're not leaving. And she says, that's not how it works. And he says, well, that's what we're going to do at a Christmas party. That was the evidence of insurrection, of Trump criminally conspiring to never leave the office, even though he left the office exactly when he was supposed to leave office. So other than the fact that historically Trump has always relinquished power, whenever it came time to relinquish power, he doesn't have to go lick the boot of the people that just, from what many believe, and I think rightly so, stole the election. He doesn't have to go lick their boot and say, you won. You can flip him the bird on the way out, but he relinquished power, despite what Jenna Ellis testified to. And her bombshell that Trump asserted that he would never relinquish power was what someone said at a drunken Christmas party way back in the day. The bottom line, however, is that Jenna Ellis raised $250,000 to defend herself from these charges, then pleaded guilty. So raised a lot of money from a lot of people. I helped her. I don't have much bitterness about that, but I helped her and I donated. I contributed. She raised about $250,000 on the basis that she was going to defend herself against these baseless charges. She then cops a plea deal and arguably throws other people under the bus. And now it seems that she's copped another plea deal. And who knows, maybe she's going to do the right thing and say, you guys got nothing, this is all bullshit, and that's going to be her truth. Who knows? When you get the the secretary saying, whoever the authority figure was, saying, yeah, this is really going to help our case, you can be a little skeptical that she's going to get out there and stick a wheel in the spoke of this abusive prosecution. It sounds more like she's going to partake in it. And you can understand how there's people out there who are pissed off about this, who feel a little betrayed, who think that it's one thing to flip, and then it's another thing to actively aid and abet the enemy in its lawfare persecution of these people who partook in the alternate slate of electors scheme, which was actually something that, if you go back to Hawaii, 1963, 62, Nixon and JFK, I might be mixing up the names, it was a Democrat legal theory in the first place that was actually once implemented. Oh yeah, but that was different. So that is the deal with Jenna Ellis, and it's not looking good for her. And the more that she cooperates with the devil, the more the devil demands more of her. That's the nature of dealing with the devil. Viva, have you seen this? Uncovered, I assure you I haven't. The list. Here, let me just pull this up here and see what that is. Oh, by the way, share the link around because I always forget to. It says link not found when I try to cut and paste. Oh, because I missed the T. Hold on. HTTPS. Here, let's see what this is here. Bada bing, bada boom. Oh, I don't know what this is. I'm going to bring it up just because it's in real time. Don't know what the outlet is. Undercover DC. Exclusive Federal Air Marshal whistleblowers report Tulsi Gabbard actively under surveillance via Quiet Skies program. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me and it wouldn't shock me. In an exclusive breaking story, several federal air marshal whistleblowers came forward with information showing that the former U.S. representative and presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard is currently enrolled in the Quiet Skies program. It's a TSA surveillance program with its own compartmentalized suspected terrorist watch list. It's the same program being weaponized against Jan 6ers. Quiet Skies is allegedly used to protect traveling Americans from suspected domestic terrorists. The photo below is a screenshot from the actual target package used by the FAMS. I mean, I having seen who's on that watch list, there was a 6-month-old baby. I mean, I wouldn't put it past anybody. Yeah, that's interesting. I'll keep that up in the backdrop. I'll have a look at it afterwards. Let me do one thing real quick, lack. I'm going to just take this cut. I'm going to go here. And 1 second, everybody. And I'll tell you one day, people, I'm gonna get a schedule going, and it'll be easy to predict when Viva is going to go live. All right, so that was the Jenna Ellis story. Let me see what else is going on in the chat over here. Let's go to vivabarneslaw.locals.com for a second and see. Sonia Labasco put it up. Oh, Sonia Labasco. Okay, fine. That's in the Belfry says it. Sonia Labasco, she was on for an interview. I'm fairly certain, because we had an air marshal talking about how they were wasting resources, tailing suspected terrorists and neglecting actual terrorists. Although, okay, so that's that. I'm just making sure we're good here. We've got everything in the vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Okay, awesome. What we're going to do right now, we're going to end this on YouTube just because, and we're going to go talk about Google. Jamie Raskin. I feel like Happy Gilmore. Whenever I say Jamie Raskin, I'm like, oh, shit, Jamie Raskin. He's a bad man. They are bad people. Kamala Harris, bad. The Democrat Party, bad. Democrat. We're going to talk about this. Kamala Harris has officially secured the nomination. She's appointed not Josh Shapiro, which would have been a glorious appointment, but apparently Tim Walz has also some great dirty skeletons in the closet, which is going to make for a very fun election season. So Kamala Harris is the official candidate now. A midnight roll call. 99% of the vote she got. We're going to talk about it over on Rumble and vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Hold on. Jeez Louise, I just heard myself and it's very loud and tinny. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We do this now. I'm going to go end it, and we're going to go Rumble and Locals only. But before I do that, because I'm an idiot, I'm going to go put the link to Rumble, pin it here, and pin it, and that'll be good to go. And then after this, I'm going to get back out, see if I find another horseshoe crab today. Who knows? Dude, it's like I found a horseshoe crab. We were pulling up those little sacks of, they look like gelatinous blobs that these fish make as protective sacks when they sleep overnight. We're pulling those out of the water. I got some coconuts down from a tree and drank fresh coconut water. This is a funny thing, and I'll end with this thought here. This is the result of things that are foreign to you tend to be a little scary to you. I grew up in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. You know, you would get apple trees, plum trees every now and again. People had them in their backyards. You wouldn't think twice about pulling an apple off a tree and just taking a bite. You would look for worms and you'd rub it off and get whatever. Maybe there's pesticides, but no. You wouldn't think twice about eating an apple or an orange off a tree, because you know you're familiar with oranges. There's something about me that I'm fearful of a coconut. And like, I don't, because it's got liquid in it. Like once you start drinking liquid, you tend to think, well, that's a little more dangerous. Although you just take an orange and squeeze out all the liquid and make freshly squeezed orange juice. Coconuts have a fear factor for me, and I don't know why. And so I climb up this tree, hack down a bunch of coconuts, and or I didn't climb it. I had a paddle and knocked a few off. And I get nervous when I drink the fluid, but I've done it. I've conquered some demons, and I had some electrolytes and juicy, delicious coconut water to replenish. All right, that's it. End of rant. We're going to go to Rumble and Locals right now. So see you there. I'll have the entire stream up on Viva Clips and on podcast version as well as soon as it's ready. So Locals and Rumble. Boom. Let's do this. All right, people. There was an article that I pulled up earlier today. I'll pull up the screen grab because it's freaking hilarious. It's called The Tyrant's Dilemma. Is it this one here? Yeah, here. Don't read it. Here we go. The dictator's dilemma. To win with 95% or 95%. Hold on a second. This is an unnecessarily big note. The dictator's dilemma, to win with 95 or 99%. I don't know what outlet it's from. It might not be from. I forget what it is, but it doesn't matter if it's reputable or not. It's just a funny way of phrasing it. In the category of least surprising news of the weekend, Turkmenistan President Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov was reelected with 97% of the vote. The remaining 3% was spread among 7 opposition candidates who spent most of the campaign lavishing praise on the former dentist. Berdimuhamedov seems to have gained some support, or whatever. 97%. So the joke is 97% or 95 or not. You want it to be plausible. I mean, you can't have it not be plausible. If it's 99%, people might not believe it. So how do I get back out of here? So let's just go here. Kamala Harris, and we're going to get to the article in a second. CBS News, DNC virtual roll call. They have to do it virtually. They can't do it in person anymore like they've always done it because you want to avoid a 1968 Chicago convention. So do it virtually at midnight after you've made sure to exclude any potentially dissenting voices. Democracy, people. DNC virtual roll call vote ends with Kamala Harris receiving 99% delegate votes. Here are the final results. And I just have to say, it's funny. You don't get smarter with age. I guess you don't get smarter, you just gather more information, which, so long as you don't lose the information that you've gathered, I guess does make you a little bit smarter as you get older. I'm old enough to remember when people would fault Vladimir Putin for getting 95% of the vote, when people would fault and say it's a sham. Saddam Hussein got 99% of the vote. And somehow when the Democrats do it, 99% of the vote via virtual roll call, it's democracy in action. The woman who didn't get one primary vote, the primary voters vote, and then the delegates vote according to the primary voters' majority vote. They voted for Joe Biden. So the delegates were, in theory, rule-bound to vote Joe Biden as their vote as delegates. Joe Biden bows out. They don't redo any primary process. I don't know how you could do it. They just say, we're going to vote for Kamala now, despite 14 million people voting for Joe Biden. And we're going to do it digitally after we make sure to browbeat and abuse out any dissenting. And we're going to say 99% support is an indication of her popularity. Saddam, this was from, when was this from? 2002. I was going back to find some funny stuff. Saddam scores 100% in leadership ballot. The Iraqi president, Saddam Hussein, topped his personal best election performance by securing 100% of the vote in yesterday's referendum, election officials said Monday. Voters awarded the 65-year-old president another 7 years term of office, some marking their yes or no ballot with bloody fingerprints as a sign of loyalty. She couldn't do better than Saddam, but she did do better than Putin. In case you missed it, right, this is from Politico, I forget what year. Vladimir Putin secured another 6 years in power for himself over the weekend, quote, winning a rigged election with virtually no real opponent. Sound familiar? Shocking, right? In a feat of generosity, Putin only gave himself 87%. She really kicked Putin's ass. 87% of the vote, according to preliminary results, the biggest share he has claimed in any of his 5 presidential elections wins since 2000. So it's hilarious because they treat you like idiots, and it would seem that Democrat supporters are, in fact, either idiots, morons, scoundrels, or a combination of all three who don't mind being lied to, don't mind being exploited, and don't mind bastardizing democracy in the pursuit of preserving democracy. Let me get the article up. Oh my goodness. You know what? I think now the effects of having drunk so much water are hitting me. Where's the article that I had to bring up here? We're going to get into some good stuff after this. This is all going to segue perfectly. Kamala Harris, here we go, officially secures the Democrat vote. Look at this. Did I get the one from Fox News, which is 99%? Oh, God, every time I see that, I should have stuck with my original predictions, people. I'm an idiot. Harris officially secures Democratic nomination with 99% of the delegates. Oh, yada, yada. Democrat National Committee, Jamie Harrison, yada, yada. I forget these people. They said in a statement that at the conclusion of the nearly week-long virtual voting period, Harris had received 99% of the votes of all delegates who participated. None of whom were voted by their primary voters to vote for Kamala Harris, with the support of 99% of participating delegates. That words mean something, people. That means that there were non-participating delegates who I guess were abused out of participating because nobody wants to deal with the mob, with that tyrannical machine. And so then forget it, I'm not part of, screw you, go. Okay, fine, I'm not there to even vote no. I'm not there to even vote for RFK Jr., I don't know. It's amazing. With the support of 99% of all participating delegates in the virtual roll call, Vice President Harris has historic momentum at her back as we embark on the final steps in officially certifying our nominee. Oh yeah, she's got. Harris was the only candidate whose name was in contention for the nomination after Biden ended his re-election campaign. DNC rules allowed any candidate to compete for the nomination if they received the electronic signatures of at least 300 of the more than 4,000 delegates, but Harris was the only one who received it. She quickly consolidated support after throwing in her hat, and we all know what happened here. Democracy, people. As we prepare to certify the nomination alongside the convention security raid. Yeah, what does it say here? We know that we are all part of an important piece of history. Yep, the death of democracy in America, and certainly the death of democracy within the Democrat Party, if it hadn't died a long time ago. Look at this. Hold on a second. Let me close this down. Then you got, did I just, no, thought I shut down the entire stream. Then you've got, who was it on Twitter? Politico. You got Politico coming out and saying, is it the Associated Press? No, it's the Associated Press. Here we go. Breaking, Kamala Harris secures the Democratic presidential nomination, becoming the first woman of color at the top of a major party's ticket. She's a DEI hire. She's a DEI vice president, and now she has become a DEI. Denying election integrity? No, destroying election integrity. I didn't make that up. Someone else made that up. I don't remember who. She is a DEI hire of the highest order because she is incompetent, did not deserve what she got, did not earn what she got, and has utterly failed at doing what she was supposed to do after having been generously given a position that she could not earn on her own skill and talent and intelligence. And now they're going to say, oh my God, it's so good. She's the first woman of color at the top of a major party's ticket. This type of identity politics, DEI bullshit, actually creates racism. It actually exacerbates racism. It exacerbates misogyny. It exacerbates anti-Semitism, whatever you want to call it. It exacerbates everything that it purports to try to combat, because what you have here right now is a woman who nobody knew was black until 2020. She always touted herself as being Indian heritage from her mother's side. Her black side is a Jamaican dad who is the descendant of actual slave owners, a man who would have to pay reparations for slavery, not receive them. That's the black side of her family, which they're now touting as being her new identity. She was never black until 2020. She was Indian before, gave interviews where she said, I'm going to be the first Indian senator in California. And now they're touting her as being the first, what did they say? Woman of color at the top of a major party's ticket. She's an idiot. She's a buffoon. She didn't earn it. And she desecrated the democratic process in achieving that. And you know what that does to people? It makes people look at her and say, holy hell. She took the position of someone more qualified. We don't know who that would have been. And the only reason she was jostled up there, propped up there, is because she's a minority and a woman. That makes the problem worse. But the problem is this: they know that. They do it so that people can then lash out against their inclusion policies, and they can then say, look at these racist, bigot, misogynist anti-Semites. We've got to go do something against them. We got to go do something about them. Now, they haven't seen the light yet. I mean, it's atrocious. They have now propped up a woman who now says she's black, a woman, first person of color, undemocratically elected, fraudulently appointed, desecrates the entire process, and people are only going to associate that with the first woman of color to be on the presidential ticket. Great. They know it. And just in case anybody had any doubts about her mental acuity, this went viral last week, but I recirculated it yesterday given the markets tanking. And don't worry, by the way, Kamala Harris is intelligent. She understands cloud technology. She understands the markets. She understands inflation.
What else are you going to do to fix this problem with inflation?
All right, thank you. Well, let's start with this. Prices have gone up.
Yeah, that's what inflation is.
And families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more.
That's inflation.
And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up.
That's inflation.
That's about having to stress and stretch limited resources.
That's the stress of
That's
inflation.
about a source of stress for families that is not only economic, but is on a daily level, something that is a heavy weight to carry. So it is something that we take very seriously.
Oh, yes.
Very seriously.
Very seriously.
And we know from the history of this issue in the United States that when you see these prices
go up, things cost more.
it has a direct impact on the quality of life.
Yeah, you pay more for the same thing. We take it very seriously.
So it's a big issue, and we take it seriously. And it is a priority, therefore.
May I ask you the question that you were initially asked? What the hell are you going to do about it? Nothing. Idiot. She's an idiot. A DEI idiot. Let me see here. A Democrat. So I'll get a good acronym for this. She's an idiot. Period. And when you have idiots in power, and I thought about this yesterday as I was lamenting the state of the world. When you have idiots in power, because Biden is no longer president, and I mean, the media doesn't seem to care. Why would they care? They were the ones propping that guy up. They were the ones promoting his fake presidency. They're not going to care now that he's no longer president. He was never president. But when you see weakness, when you see regimes crumbling, your enemies are going to take advantage of that. And even your friends are going to take advantage of that. I mean, they're not really your friends because they're only there to exploit you, but that's what it means to be friends in politics. It's like you're the drunk idiot at the party. You're the drunk idiot at the poker table. The sharks over there are going to take advantage of you. And your friends are probably going to take advantage of you. Hey, buddy, buy me a drink. What we have right now is basically drunken idiots at the helm of the American government. Joe Biden, call him drunk, demented. And Kamala Harris, just call her retarded. Like, call it what it is. I think Michael Malice probably had it best now that I've listened to the podcast with Joe Rogan. She's mentally unfit to be president. Everybody is taking advantage of America right now. So, but it gets worse. Let me just see what else I had here on. It gets worse. Oh, hold on. I actually haven't listened to this fully. This is Kamala Harris's new campaign ad.
Oh, it's good to be back in Georgia. He does not walk it like he talks it.
But why are they showing 3 of these? He does not walk it like he talks it.
Talks it. Do we believe in freedom?
Remember, everybody, they're rebranding her as black, and so this is what you have to do. She's always been. Just rebrand her now. If you vote for this idiot, you are confirming that you are nothing but an easily manipulated NPC, period. You vote for packaging, you vote for branding, and you do not vote for substance. If you knew anything about this woman, oh my God, and not just her skills and her talents, but what she's done to democracy itself. But they're rebranding her. She's black, by the way, and forget the fact that she's Indian now. I mean, maybe every now and again she talks about being East Asian. She's no longer Indian, she's black.
We believe in freedom. Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win.
Oh, sorry. When we fight, we win. Do you remember what they tried to impeach Trump for, or what they impeached him for but didn't convict him for? Fight like hell. When we fight, what the hell does that mean? They know exactly what they're doing, and it's provocation. You get impeached for saying fight like hell, gonna be wild. We get to say it, and if you say anything about it, we're gonna go after you for stochastic terrorism. When we fight, we win. And my goodness, there was, I'm not seeing things, right? There was a distinct black angle to that promotional video. Rebrand, people. She's no longer an idiot. She's no longer someone who locked up a generation of black men for petty crimes. She's no longer a moron buffoon who's unfit to serve. Bam! Overnight. Like in 1984, George Orwell, they take the script and they give you a new script, and then everyone gets mad. What the hell are all those signs doing up there? I forget the exact context in 1984. We're like, they said the signs were wrong. That video that says she's an idiot is still up there. Take it down. The hell's wrong with you? Anyhow, so that's it. It's crazy. She's now the official nominee. There was one more thing here. We are talking about Raskin. I hate this man. I appreciate hatred is a bad thing. It's a consuming force. It makes people do stupid things. It makes people think improperly. When you're blinded by hatred, you don't digest information with the requisite degree of skepticism. It makes you more susceptible to falling for stupid stories, fake stories, because it confirms the hatred that you already believe. And so it's very important to keep it in check. But you also can't be a liar. I'm not going to say I love Jamie Raskin. This man is a very, very, very bad man. Very bad man, Jody. He's a very, very, very bad man in all senses of the word. And this is a clip that Charlie Kirk posted yesterday. It was going viral among other people. I was trying to find the full interview because I could see something in the back that says like store. I won't play it, but here, right there, it says, it looks like store. And then, first of all, he looks like Kevin Spacey, which also, makes me very skeptical of him. But listen to this. I put out a video yesterday and, it's gotten some traction, but we're going to listen to it again today. This is how they do things. If you say fight like hell, impeached. If you say gonna be wild, impeached. Even if you say fight patriotically, we're on the side of the blue. Take those videos down. 1984. Can't have a video of Trump saying go peacefully and patriotically protest. Can't have a video of Trump on the internet saying go home, it's over, because we're saying that he's starting an insurrection. That runs counter to our lie of a narrative. Take it down. That's what they do to the Republicans. What do the Democrats do? What you're going to listen to is insurrection. What you're going to listen to is destruction of democracy. It is tyranny. It is never relinquishing the power that you have, because bear in mind and remember, Trump's an authoritarian. He'll never leave office, except he already did. He's an authoritarian. He's going to lock up his political adversaries, which is exactly what they're trying to do to him. He's an authoritarian tyrant. He's Hitler. And yet gets deplatformed from Facebook, YouTube, social media. Yeah, he's one hell of a Hitlerian tyrant. Holy crabapple. Listen to this.
What can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025 to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in civil war conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means. And I'm glad that Sherilyn's creating her new center so we can bring that.
If anybody can find me the full interview, I would love it. It's Sherilyn's center, and I don't know what word he's saying right there. It's loathsome. If you don't hate this, then you don't have a heart. So it doesn't mean you do anything bad with that hatred. I mean, just be honest about it. He's a disgusting man who would start a civil war because A, he would have the resources to protect himself, and B, because he thinks he knows better than the people. I forget who it was. You'll tell me in the chat. When the government fears the people, you have when the government fears the people, you have democracy. When the people fear the government, you have tyranny. I'm going to say George Washington. Let me know. What you have there is a man who is prepared to destroy democracy to further his own personal views. I mean, that's exactly what it is. And after an election on January 6th, after Trump has been elected through the democratic process, Jamie Ratface Skin is going to come out and say, sorry, guys. Yeah, I know there's a horde of angry people out there who, it's democracy. He's been disqualified. I mean, you voted for, he was on the ballot. We tried to take him off. Supreme Court said, no, Article 14, subsection 3 is not self-executing. And you already tried to impeach him, you scumbag scoundrels. But we're just going to have to come. He's disqualified now. So go home, MAGA. Oh, what's that? Civil war? Okay, well, we're going to need more protection here. And we're going to weaponize the military on the civilians. That is calling for civil war. Jamie Raskin is calling for civil war. He's calling for violence on the American people. He's calling to defy democracy. And he's calling for the same, I don't know, it wasn't martial law, but the same weaponizing of the military against the people that they were accusing Trump of potentially doing. He should be out of government. He should be reprimanded. He should be censured, if not more, politically speaking and legally speaking. That is the most atrocious thing you can possibly imagine any government official saying. He should be out of office. But Trump is the one who wants to subvert democracy. Kamala Harris gets 99% of the delegate votes, who got 0% of the primary votes, anointed. And Raskin saying, even if Trump gets elected, we're going to disqualify him and fuck you. Oh, and by the way, get violent, we got the military. Get violent, we got protection. And they want to disarm the American people while they openly talk about doing this. I'm Canadian, people. I now understand the God-given importance of the Second Amendment. They talk about disarming you while then saying, screw your democracy, we're going to armor up, we're going to security up, and we're going to come down with the full force of the military on you because you're mad, because you voted, and then we disqualified the guy that you elected. Is it here? Here we go. Bada bing, bada boom. Thank you. I know someone else might have given it, but I just saw it here. When the government fears the people, you have liberty. When the people fear the government, you have tyranny. Oft attributed to Jefferson, but apparently isn't on record as an actual quote, I think. Then we'll give it to Mark Twain or Winston Churchill. It's despairing. And I try not to despair, but it's despair. We got a new member in Locals. Ann Parr subscribed. Ann Parr. Welcome to the Viva BarnesLaw.locals.com community. It's the most above average community on earth of wonderful people. Our memery is top notch. Even the trolls are above average. And welcome to the club. Do I do something? I'm going to crack my back here. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Did you hear that? That was good. Oh, that wasn't so good. Okay, there we go. It's enraging, and you try to sleep after. Can you imagine? But he says it among a crowd that is friendly, that laughs. Oh, and the Supreme Court justices, they don't have a busy workload. And then it gets out, and then he's going to say, "Oh, geez, now I'm getting threats." Don't threaten him, because then it allows the victimizer to play the victim. I'm getting threats. I just told the American people that I was going to shit on their right to vote, weaponize the government against them when they get angry about it. And now people are threatening me. Oh my goodness, woe is me. I'm the victim. DARVO, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender, a narcissistic tactic. Let me see here. I want to bring this one up. I love this. Okay, here it says, the left has to lie even to themselves. The left has to lie even to themselves. The left has to lie. Okay, well, we don't need to say it once because we get it the first time. Oh, Lordy. So that's that. Let me see what's going on here. All right. And now we're going to get into Google, people. Let me see what's going on in the chat here, though, anyhow. It's outrageous. There was something else here. The Telegraph. Oh, let me see if see here. Okay, it's not going to happen. All right, I'm going to catch up with some people afterwards. Let's quickly talk about what's going on in the UK. The UK is going to hell in a handbasket, but that's what happens when you elect commies. And I had some choice words for this particular commie, but listen to this. So last week, or the week, it was last week or the week before, but I think it was last week, 3 girls were apparently stabbed to death by someone whose immigration status unknown. Whether or not it was on a terror watch list, unknown. People start getting very angry at what is seen to be the great replacement of Brits in Britain, of the Irish in Ireland, of the Scots in Scotland. And people take to the streets to express their discontent with the policy that is basically turning their country into an abject shithole. There's no freedom of speech out there anymore. It's not safe anymore. I mean, sure, you don't have gun violence. You just have acid attacks and knife attacks. But at least it's not guns, right? And then you got this commie POS who just got elected only because of a divided party system. And he's coming down not on the perpetrators of the violence, but on the victims of the violence. Listen to this.
Be in no doubt,
those
that have participated in this violence will face the full force of the law.
Oh, you're talking about the roving gangs that were stabbing and beating Brits with hammers and swords? You're talking about them, right? Oh, no, you're not. You're talking about the white male percentage of the population that is the Tommy Robinson type followers, who are incidentally not white male, but never let a good lie destroy a narrative.
The police will be making arrests.
Oh, yes.
Individuals will be held on remand. Charges will follow, and convictions will follow.
Oh, he's got it under control, people. This sounds like Justin Trudeau with a British accent and a little more eloquent, talking about the Ottawa trucker protest.
I guarantee you will regret taking part in this disorder, whether directly or those whipping up this action online and then running away themselves. This is not protest. It is organised, violent thuggery. And it has no place on our streets or online.
I mean, they say you get what you vote for. You get what you vote for, and unfortunately, sometimes you get more than what you vote for, and unfortunately, other people get what you vote for as well. So there's apparently protests going on in England on the streets now because people have had enough of basically turning their country into a raging shithole. And the police now are coming down not just on who they call the perpetrators of the violence, the people protesting the destruction of their country. The videos are there, people. Now, you got to be a little bit skeptical and you've got to be a little bit circumspect in what you instinctively share. You got to double check. But the videos are there, people. Whatever that hell the guy's name is. The videos are there, so we know exactly what's going on in the streets. We see the people, the roving gangs of masked individuals, beating, stabbing, harassing Britners. Brits. We see it. I mean, this is the age of the internet. You can't hide it, despite your best attempts. And when the cops look at this, buddy. This is absolutely amazing. This is from the Telegraph. Watch. Met chief grabs journalist microphone after 2-tier policing question. Credit Sky News.
We go in 2-tier policing, sir.
So do you know what that is, by the way? I don't know. It's theft. Because even if it's a joke, it's still theft. Theft is not a joke. Theft is not a joke. A joke is not a defense to theft. I believe that could be called assault as well. Let's see something here. Britain, assault to grab someone's, let's just say phone is probably the most one. If someone smacks your phone out of your hand, I don't know if we're going to go. Here we go. If that victim, well, no, I'm not trusting Reddit. Varying degrees of assault in the UK. Lot. Deny. I don't want anything. Assault is defined as the intentional and reckless harm towards an individual and is charged as common assault, depending on the severity. Yada, yada, yada. Let's see if we got it here. It's okay. Every case is different. What is the legal definition of assault? Varying degrees. What types of assault? Racially. Okay. Battery, racially motivated, use of a foot, premeditated, slamming someone against their will, shouting, punching. Greatest bodily harm. Hold on a second. Why did we get this? Phone. Telephone number. Well, that's not what we want to see, people. I'm fair. I'll double check. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but smacking a phone out of someone's hand, even if you only hit the phone, in many jurisdictions is considered assault. Grabbing a microphone out of someone's hand, I presume, could be similarly qualified. Theft at the very least. But the police, when they do it, nothing. Can you imagine grabbing a body cam thing off of a cop? I mean, you'd be shot. Well, maybe not shot dead in Britannia. You might get the Billy Club boy, but you won't get shot. And that's the response to, are we going to end the two-tier policing, which I presume is in response to what's going on in England right now. It's you try not to despair, but it seems like our elites, our political elites, and I'm using the word as an insult, not as a label. I'm using it as a slur. I don't want to ever be called an elite. I don't want to be an elite. And I don't think elites are elites. I'll call these political elites the elites because the elites in the revolutionary sense, these are the scum of society right now. They're driving us towards war. They're driving us towards civil unrest and international World War III. But the elite think they can do whatever the hell they want. And they do whatever the hell they want. And they don't suffer the consequences for what they do. I mean, it's just like Jeffrey Epstein. No clients. They take him and he gets killed in jail. And then they say cameras weren't working, security guards were sleeping, but he committed suicide. Shut up and make it and go away now. And it's like everybody knows they're lying. I think it's Zolnitsyn or the guy there. They're lying. We know they're lying. They know we know they're lying. And they continue lying. And this guy gets up there. This guy gets up there and snatches a mic when someone asks him about your two-tier policing. Hold on a second. I want to bring this one up. The chat's moving a little. Here, Viva. Goddamn, Viva, still whore. Still whore suing Google. I think you meant to say I'm still a whore using Google search engine. Look, it's actually useful to use the tools of the enemy every now and again because in terms of what it generates by way of result and what it doesn't is useful. DuckDuckGo is no better. And there is I can appreciate some people think that there's a hypocrisy in all of that, but I don't, and I have not more nuance, and I'm not making excuses for myself. Amazon is caca, but Audible is good, and you can go buy the book directly from the source, but you can buy someone's hard work off of Audible or off of Amazon, and you're supporting the people. You can buy Alex Jones on Amazon. And I don't think you're a hypocrite or a whore for doing it. So they can serve practical purposes, even though they are corrupt, evil regimes. Okay. With that said, good. Now, speaking of Google and evil regimes, this is what we're going to talk about right now. It's wild, by the way. Do we start with? I guess we have to start with the decision, and then we're going to start with the impacts. I believe I might get some stock in Rumble because I don't believe that people appreciate the importance that this Google antitrust case is going to have on Rumble. Hold on a second. Let me just close this here. There's too many things open. Let me bring this up. And I want Chris, Chris is going to come on and talk about it. Google antitrust case. Here we go. Boom. Okay. How Google's huge defeat in antitrust case could change how you search the internet. This is from USA Today. Yeah, they're fake news, but sometimes you can get useful information out of them. So Google lost its antitrust. It's a federal antitrust case where Google is being accused not only of monopolistic practices, but also of abusing of its monopoly, its monopolistic search result engines, to artificially, because of the absence of competition, jack up advertising costs for people advertising, paying for the results of their falsified or monopolistic practices over their search results. In the most significant legal ruling against a major technology giant in more than 2 decades, a federal judge said Google illegally monopolized online search and advertising by paying companies like Apple and Samsung billions of dollars to install Google as the default search engine on smartphones and web browsers, by monopolizing search queries on smartphones and browsers. Google abused its dominance in the search market, throttling competition, harming consumers. District Judge Mehta, it's a 286-page ruling. I skimmed through it just to make, I skimmed through it, but also I just tune out when it gets too technical. I understand the gist of it. Google owes much of its more than 300 Google owes much of its more than 300 billion in annual revenue to search ads. Google is a monopolist, and it has acted as one to maintain its monopoly, Mehta wrote. The massive win for the Justice Department could fundamentally reshape how Google does business. It could also change how we use the internet and search for information. Yada, yada, yada. The victory against Google is a historic win for the American people, Attorney General Garland said in a statement. No company, no matter how large or influential, is above the law. Case is the most significant in the Justice Department monopoly in decades. Okay, fine. Google said it would appeal. Fine. Shares in Google, Alphabet slipped following the ruling. They closed 5% down. Fine. It's not such a big deal. If upheld, it will be a major boost for other antitrust cases pending against Google, as well as, they don't mention Rumble here. It's an amazing thing. It's like everybody's, do they mention Rumble? No, of course. Why would they mention Rumble's antitrust lawsuit against Google? Why would they mention that this is probably the biggest boost to Rumble's pending antitrust suit against Google? Let me see if I brought that up. Rumble sues Google again. Here. Oh, don't make me do that, you son of a... Archive. Ugh, come on, fat fingers here. What the... I say, what the hell is wrong with me? I just saw archive.ph. Okay. I say, hold still while I find something to strike you with. 2 months ago. Exclusive. Rumble sues Google again. Does everybody remember this lawsuit? We covered all of these at the time. I've been covering Rumble's lawsuits against Google. Shoot, this is back when I was in Canada. I remember doing a vlog ice fishing at my late father-in-law's cabin. Here, Rumble sues Google again. Rumble, the publicly traded YouTube alternative that's favored by conservatives, has filed a lawsuit against Google and its parent, Alphabet. The big picture lawsuit argues that Google owes Rumble upwards of $1 billion in damages for lost ad revenue as a client and for illegally leveraging its dominance in ad technology to hamper Rumble's ability to compete as an ad tech competitor. This is the second lawsuit filed by the video company against Google. Rumble first sued Google in 2021 for illegally favoring YouTube videos in Google search results and within its Android and mobile operating system. How? Well, A, by preloading these apps with those preloading the phones with those apps, and B, by directing literally videos would be originally uploaded on Rumble, pretty much only viewable on Rumble, some of them, and yet the Google search results would direct to videos on YouTube, some that had nothing to do with the actual search. Nah, hey, just Google, monopoly, abusing of its monopoly over the search engine to redirect traffic to its video hosting platform to the detriment of Rumble. $1 billion on the second suit. I don't remember how much the first lawsuit was claiming. Lawsuit is currently in discovery after the judge decided against Google in a motion to dismiss the case. The lawsuit was filed in Northern District of California. Ooh, where was the federal one? Okay, Google exploits significant conflicts of interest that stem from its multiple roles, yada, yada, yada. Between the lines, the lawsuit also alleges that Google abuses its monopoly in ad tech to illegally disadvantage Rumble. And, well, that seems to have just been ratified by Judge Mehta. Well, that could substantially help this $1 billion claim that Rumble has filed against Google, which everybody knew was going on at the time. It's amazing. I don't think the world understands the impact that this decision should have on Rumble's claim against Google. Google unlawfully forecloses competition in the market for, I should read this actually. Google unlawfully forecloses competition in the market for publisher ad servers in the market for ad buying tools for small advertisers and in separate markets for ad exchange and ad network, the complaint reads. Google excludes competition by engaging in conduct unlawful under settled antitrust precedent and now certainly ratified by Judge Mehta, including through unlawful tying arrangements, a pattern and practice of exclusionary conduct targeting actual and potential rivals, and even a market allocation and price fixing agreement with Facebook, at one time its largest potential competitive threat in the publisher, ad server, and ad markets. Google did not immediately respond. What's going on here? Rumble, of note, Rumble's ad marketplace revenues are still small, but the company sees its ad tech and cloud product offering as growing parts of its business. Rumble's full year revenue, 2023, 81 million. the vast majority of that revenue from Rumble's selling ads against user-generated content. That's me. Rumble's new lawsuit is the latest litigation waged against Google. And then we got this here. The Justice Department and several have sued Google last year, illegal dominance, and they just won it. That's the case that they just won. The EU fined Google $1.7 billion for stifling online ad competition. So it's massive. And I don't think people fully appreciate it yet. We will sure as sugar talk about it on Sunday. And I'm going to hopefully be able to get Chris on tomorrow. And hopefully I'll be back at my home office by that time. Not that anybody should be expected to go through this wildly tough decision to read. Is this it? Something went wrong. Come on, way down. Done what in the Pop-Tarts. Okay, so I highlighted 4 things here from the decision starting early on. This is the describing the case. This is the executive summary at the beginning. Specifically, the court holds that 1, there are relevant product markets for general search services and general search tech ads. 2, Google has monopoly power in those markets. 3, Google's distribution agreements are exclusive and have anti-competitive effects. And 4, Google has not offered valid pro-competitive justifications for those agreements. Importantly, the court also finds that Google has exercised its monopoly power by charging super competitive prices for general search text ads. The conduct has allowed Google to earn monopoly profits. What did I have here later on? Oh, this is describing the default distribution. The most efficient channel, I think that's Google search engine distribution, is by far placement as the preloaded out-of-the-box default Google search engine or general search engine. That access point varies by device. On Apple products, it is the integrated search bar in the Safari browser and to some extent Apple's voice assistant Siri, and on device search Spotlight. And then what do we got here? On Android devices, it's the widget. Okay, fine, we got that. Okay, so that was one of the things. So that's how they got the monopoly. Paragraph 62, notwithstanding the option to switch, the default remains the primary search access point. Roughly 50% of all general search queries in the United States flow through a search access point covered by one of the challenged contracts. Okay, that's the monopoly. Then I think we get to the exclusive agreement allows Google to profitably charge super competitive prices for text advertisements. The trial evidence firmly, this is, by the way, when you appeal a decision, if it's a question of law, the Court of Appeal has more liberty to override an erroneous finding of law by a lower court judge. When it comes to credibility of witnesses and assessment of evidence, the appellate courts show more deference, greater deference to the lower courts, who are in a privileged position to assess witness credibility and evidence. The law, all levels are equal to assess the law, and they don't have any, so they don't have to defer to the legal analysis. They don't have to be as deferential to the legal conclusions, the findings of law of a lower court, as they do to the findings of fact, because when you go to appeal, you don't have witnesses testify again, and you don't reassess the evidence that the lower court assessed, disregarded, or considered. So this when the judge writes, the trial evidence firmly established, that means good luck overturning this on appeal because you're relying on my assessment of the evidence. Trial evidence firmly established that Google's monopoly power maintained by the exclusive distribution agreements has enabled Google to increase text ad prices without any meaningful competitive constraint. There is no dispute that the cost per click for a text ad has grown over time. Google has used various, quote, price knobs, end quote, to drive these increases, often between 5 and 15% of the time, without a significant shift in advertiser spending to generalized search engine competitors. Or it might be Google, I forget what it is. Ad experiments consistently showed Google achieved a, quote, stickage, end quote, rate of 50% for its pricing knob adjustments, meaning half of post-launch revenue increases translated into long-term gains. Google also tweaked the pricing knobs when needed to achieve periodic revenue targets. I think that's all I have there. Was there something in the conclusion? No, so that's it. So that is what the court came to by way of conclusion, and it's a massive, I think it's thoroughly justified decision, and it's going to have massive impacts on Rumble that I don't think people fully appreciate as of yet. We'll see if I'm right about that. All right, what do we got down here? Niboopsh says 8.8, brother, fellow Jay Canuck. I don't know what that's about, but it sounds funny. Then we got, wish they would bring back Alta Vista from 1997 or so. Google never seemed as effective at searching. Ooh, what do we have in the house here? King of Biltong is in the house. Good morning from Anton's. Free shipping on your Biltong using code Viva on www.biltongusa and Anton USA. Help us fight climate change by reducing the cows. Eat more Biltong. It's a South African-like beef jerky. It's delicious. It's softer, more delicious. It's amazing. Raskin refuses to accept the plainly evident truth that the 14th Amendment doesn't apply to the presidency. Also, even if it were to, that they already tried to impeach him on the insurrection bull crap from January 6th, and they didn't get him convicted. But just keep trying until you succeed. Am I right? And then, so this all fits in, by the way, to Twitter as well. But you got to read this. This is Linda Yaccarino put out an open letter to advertisers in a tweet that was retweeted by Elon Musk saying, "We've tried to play nice. This is war." I haven't read this yet. This came out like right before I went live. Every day, hundreds of millions of people come to X to be part of the only global real-time conversation. They come to share their thoughts and hear others. To share their content, to see more, to debate and be debated, to entertain, yada, yada, yada. The power of this community to bring global conversations to life was the reason I was so excited to join in 2023. After a career in media advertising, I thought I had seen everything. Then I read the U.S. House of Representatives Judiciary Committee's report entitled GARM, Global Alliance for Responsible Media Harm, last month. The report disclosed that their investigation had found evidence of an illegal boycott against many companies, including X. As their report found, quote, evidence obtained by the committee shows that GARM, Global Alliance for Responsible Media, GARM and its members directly organized boycotts and used other indirect tactics to target disfavored platforms, content creators, and news organizations in an effort to demonetize and, in effect, limit certain consumer choices for consumers. The consequence, perhaps the intent of this boycott, was to seek to deprive X's users, be they sport fans, gamers, journalists, yada, yada, of the global town square. To put it simply, people are hurt when the marketplace of ideas is undermined and some viewpoints are not funded over others as part of the illegal boycott. The behavior is a strain on a great industry and cannot be allowed to continue. That is why X has filed an antitrust lawsuit against the Global Alliance for Responsible Media. Get them. Get them, Elon. And I think Rumble is joining. Or I think Rumble may have started first and they're joining. I forget which. Rumble and Twitter, X, are on the same side right now. I'm partial to Rumble. They've been there first and they've been fighting hard, despite all odds. But it's good to see an alliance of good to fight an alliance of evil. They're suing these people here. Okay, this is not a decision we took lightly, but it's a direct consequence of their actions. The illegal behavior of these organizations and their executive cost X billions of dollars. Since arriving at X, I made it my mission to continue to build a platform where people, brands, advertisers can thrive in our unique, dynamic, and safe environment. And because of this commitment to our users, and despite the boycott, user usage has reached all-time highs. Okay, fine, blah, blah, blah. The same is true for video, fine. We have met and surpassed the requests made by advertisers and groups such as GARM for new tools, both to improve the advertisers' control and the effectiveness of our products to drive increased value for our customers. How long does this go for? Where am I? Oh, yeah. We have proven our platform provides advertisers a way to showcase their brands, reach their targets efficiently. Yeah, fine. To those who broke the law, we say this: enough is enough. We are compelled to seek justice for the harm that has been done by these and potentially additional defendants, depending on what the legal process reveals. It's also clear that there are likely others who suffered at the hands of this activity. The case is about more than damages. We have to fix a broken ecosystem that allows for this illegal activity to occur. We will continue to innovate and ensure that X has a vibrant future, yada, yada, yada. To all of you who've been part of the transformative journey we are on, thank you. Rest assured, we will not stop defending our global town square. Linda, who took some flack when she joined, and so did Elon, because she, was maybe arguably part of the team evil for a while. Maybe she's seen the light and has come around to the good side of history. People, we've done good. I'm going to end this, and we're going to go do a little after party at Locals, and then I'm going to go see what the family's doing. It looks nice out there, a little windy. Maybe we'll go scuba diving or go to Shell World and buy some crap. Maybe I'll get another blowfish. But thank you for being here. So stay tuned. I'll be live tomorrow. I don't know when. And I'm going to try to get that interview with Chris Pavlovsky, try to get Tommy Robinson on so we can talk about what's going on in England and see what happens this week with the rest of the news. Everybody, we're going to end it and bring it over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Supporters only, exclusive after party coming in 5, 4, 3, 2. Peace out. Have a good day. See you. Locals. Let's see what's going on here. My butt really hurts in this chair. Oh, it's a very hardwood chair with no cushion under my tushy. Let's see what we got here. We got Paracleric says, great minds think alike. Unfortunately, so do stupid ones. My grandmother used to say that. It's the great minds think alike and fools seldom differ. Who's catering the after party? Says TL Vista. Viva. What else was it that I gotta pee. What else is going on in life? No, I don't want to show too much public. I don't want to be too public about any despair that I feel. It's a momentary thing, and I try to remember. Was it King Solomon? This too shall pass. But my goodness, is it tough not to despair when you just? I'm listening to Michael Malice on Joe Rogan. What were they talking about? I don't know if it was that. It's just like it's like I despair. Like there's no other word for it. You have people touting democracy who are actively subverting democracy, and like I don't understand how people don't realize that they are victims of buying into propaganda. And I say this with the full self-awareness that I constantly double check and check myself in as much as I can. Am I guilty of this? Like confession through projection, it occurs when someone lacks the insight to say, oh shit, no, that's right. When I said that I was going to disqualify the guy that just got elected, I'm the one who's undermining democracy. But I don't know how people can be so stupid or dishonest, brazenly so, like brazenly dishonest. And it might be because I spend too much time on Twitter, and you only see the posts that go viral tend to be the ones that are either brazen truth or brazen dishonesty. And it's like, oh my gosh, you wake up in the middle of the night, like, what? Here. Let me just see some of the stuff. Some of the stuff that I didn't get to here. Here, like, it's like, I don't want to put anybody on blast, but the level of stupidity here. Okay, so this was the breaking. Kamala Harris. This is the article that we talked about. Then you got this guy here who you go to the, I mean, I don't know what is troll or parody anymore. And this looks like it's a very good candidate for parody because you got the trans flag, the gay flag, this guy who's called Queer Granddad. I don't know if it's real or not, but whether or not it's real, and then you don't know whether or not the replies to it are real. And then you're like, holy shit, is this entire Twitterverse like just bots that get big accounts, like, pushing crap? All the babies crying she didn't get a single vote apparently don't like democracy. This might be parody. I might have fallen for parody. Read this and weep. Harris's nomination became official after a 5-day round of online balloting through participating delegates. Yada, yada. Ended Monday night with the party saying in a statement released just before midnight that 99% of the participants, he took out the word participating. This is how it could be a troll. 99% of the delegates casting a vote for Harris. And then it goes on, and you ignore the fact that not a single citizen voted for her. Shocking. I guess you ignore the fact how delegates are selected, and delegates are also citizens. Like, nobody could be this stupid. This could be a troll who just wants to see how far we can go. The delegates are selected by the people who, I guess, voted for them. But the delegates, selected or not, are required by the rules to reflect the vote of the people in the primaries. Delegates chosen by people aren't. Oh my God! So I don't know if this is. I don't know if this is real, but it's like whether or not it's real, people believe it. Oh, what else there? Let's just go down to another one. Then the breaking, the woman of color. Like they destroy everything. They destroy everything, and they sow discord among people. Like there are people who look at this now. I'll get my face out of there. There are people who look at this DEI and say, my goodness, I'm not one of them because I'm sufficiently self-reflective to know that these are bad players. These are not. They don't represent the demographics they purport to represent. But there are people out there who say, "Shit, this is making me have negative responses to identifiable demographics because this is how they weaponize it." But they know that also. The whole #MeToo movement, they knew the way they were weaponizing it for political profit was actually going to hurt victims of sexual violence and women. Because after the #MeToo movement took off, nobody wanted to be alone in a room with a woman that wasn't their wife. Nobody wanted to hire a woman and work with them because it just opened the door to 4 years later, they knew it. And they don't care because they're evil people who exploit the vulnerable for their own political profit. And I don't know how you don't despair about that. And then you get we'll get a little controversial politics. Then you get Israel and look at Netanyahu's finally going to get that war with Iran. This guy who's been egging for war with Iran for 20 years. And I guess now he found his opportunity because of October 7. And then I said, I'm not one of the ones who denies that October 7 happened. I don't need to see the pictures of babies to know that atrocity occurred. But I still haven't had a satisfactory explanation as to how that atrocity occurred. Can you imagine people saying, no, we're not looking into how Trump got, how that occurred. It's going to serve no purpose now. Let's just go respond. No. We should have had the same forensic analysis of October 7, how that was enabled, how that occurred, that we had with the assassination. It's not because the tragedy, the scope of the tragedy is exponentially more grotesque that you then say, let's abandon analysis and just go hog wild with war. And you got the country or the government that was at the helm of the greatest catastrophic intelligence failure at best, now is going to go wage war against Iran. I mean, they're just dragging everybody into it. And then you understand how it promotes and exacerbates conspiracy theories. That, a lihop, so they could expand borders into Gaza, a lihop so they could justify a war with Iran. And then if Netanyahu gets thrown under the bus afterwards, well, at least we've taken out Iran. We've gotten our war. Same thing in Ukraine. I'll listen to Bongino. I didn't listen to him today, but listen to him talk about it. It's like people want that war to continue going on because they're not fighting it. They're just stealing from it. And they don't give a sweet bugger all about people. And so, oh, my goodness, we'll end it on this because it'll actually be inspiring. And so, I go to the chat. I'm still pissed off that but this stupid stuff that I'm pissed off. I can understand the stupid stuff and be grateful. Be grateful for the things that we've got. Let me see something here. Okay. Okay, hold on. I'll get to this afterwards. What was it? Oh yeah, no. So I posted it, and then everyone says God has a plan, and it's not that I don't. I still take the God to be I was looking for the photo. Gosh darn it, I have like ADD. And so Sophia Agape, pretty sure it was Sophia Agape. Hold on a second. Can't see this anymore. Who gave a psalm? Where is it? I'm fairly certain it was Sophia Agape. The screen grab has cut it off, so I'll show you. This is what I want to get to. This is the screen grab. See, I can't see myself anymore. So I said, I have no doubt. Wow, that's interesting. Oh, there it is. Okay, you can see the text. I have no doubt that God has a plan. But, the 80 million people that died under Mao's revolution and Stalin and the Holodomor, I'm like, all right, what's the plan there? And then I can appreciate it as a fine. Okay, if we are only fixated, or if we're not fixated, if we believe that this earth and this existence is all that we have, then yeah, for the tens of millions of people who die in injustices, God didn't have a plan. And that's why I guess, and to some extent I do believe it, like this can't be all that there is. And the idea that energy always exists and has always existed and just transforms, there's a part of me that can imagine, like, in as much as the cells that make your brain create consciousness, as those cells break down back into the universe, each cell has its own cellular consciousness. So as I close my eyes sometimes when I want to try to relax, or you picture like someone disintegrating into the soil, and the consciousness that was the aggregate cells of their brain is now being recycled into the universe, and there must be some sort of universal consciousness at the cellular atomic energy level. So I get a appreciate, like, fine, maybe that's what some people think is heaven. Maybe scientists will discuss, explain it away a different way. I appreciate that. This can't be all that there is. This existence is a miracle that is inexplicable. I've said it before, I'll say it one more time at the risk of having an unburdened montage, but the paradox of existence, either everything we know came out of nothing, which is inconceivable and impossible, or everything we know has always been here and has always existed, which is equally impossible and inconceivable. And then I had the third variation, which is, or it never existed in the first place and it doesn't exist now, and in which case, what the heck is it? So bottom line though, we're going to end. And I'm not going to start ending shows by reading Bible verses, but I saw this where I said, okay, I'm not sure that, the God's plan for the tens of millions of people who die injustices. And then Sophia Agape, Matthew 6:25 to 6:34. Oh, it's 6:25 and 6:34. Therefore, I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds in the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they? And which of you, by being anxious, can add a single hour to his lifespan? None. He actually takes them off. And why are you anxious about clothing? Consider the lilies in the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. But if God so clothes the grass to the field, which today is alive and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? Therefore do not be anxious, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or what shall we wear? For the Gentiles seek after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them all. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things will be added to you. Therefore, do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. I'm going to have to go digest that as I take a paddleboard out onto the Gulf Coast and hope to see, what do I want to see today? A turtle? A manatee. See a manatee. So Sophia, thank you very much for that. I'm gonna have to reread that a couple of times and digest it. And we'll go back here. Let's see what's in the chat. The soul is metaphysical, not energy, a different dimension, for lack of a better description, beyond our comprehension. Then we got Finboy Slick. You'll get a kick out of this one. Israel, check for yourself. Kamala, finish, horrible. Oh my good. Don't make fun of a name that's bigoted to make fun of a foreigner's name. They used to call me Fry. Well, I'll swear. Earmuffs. I used to get called Fry Fuck as a kid. Never gave a sweet bugger all. They called me what do they call it? They call me Fry Fuck, and they called me Fry Boy. Well, then the mispronunciations, but I'm gonna go. I screen grab that. I'm gonna go double check that. Then we got Amen. Biology always wins. Oh, Viva, this is beautiful. It says love in 2 limes. And then we got and then Bill Brown sent me this one the other day. It said, stop worrying about what other people think. I mean, have you met other people? They're awful. I actually never worry about what other people think. I just my issue, it's an irrational fear of death. And this is going to be big admission. This is like this is not the result of therapy. I have an irrational fear of death, and I can appreciate why it's driven in selfish or arrogant ego. I had this revelation the other day, because whenever I fear death, it's not me being dead. It's what my kids would do if I were to prematurely die, or even when I die. Like, what am I going to do? My father's still alive. I know the sorrow that I'm going to feel when he dies. I can feel it just when I close my eyes and think about it, because I like to torture myself. So knowing that, nobody wants to die a violent, painful death. But it's visualizing my kids, sobbing, "Where's daddy? I want daddy" type thing. Then you realize that is on the one hand, a natural fear and a natural concern, but it's driven by ego. And so I appreciate that, but I still have an irrational fear of death. When I youngest memory, I don't want to die. I don't want to live forever, but I don't want to die early. So that's my anxiety. It's irrational, it's uncontrollable, but I can keep it in check. Read William Bulem, Ibn Alexander, and Jules Sui's books about the bodily afterlife and death and other stuff. I'm going to screen grab that. That's from Brad864. The statement that all time is right now blows up in my the statement that all time is right now blows up my brain. That's from Auntly. Don't be afraid, Viva. I've always been spiritual, agnostic, but as time goes on, the more I believe in God and true good versus evil. There's too much evil on this earth now. That must be a force of, there must be a force of good, or that must be a force of good to fight it back now more than ever. They got Trump in the thing there. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. Not wanting to die early is not irrational. No, it's not irrational, but the obsession, the obsessive crippling fear of death. Like I ask people, how many times a day do you think of death? And then some people's like, never, unless something comes up. For me, it's a continual rotating motor. Bing, bing, death, every time. It keeps me alive. It keeps me from touching electrical wires. But it's incessant. Viva, you might like this one too. Enlarged. There's a surprise in it. This is Lord of the Rings. I'm enlarging it. Is that a? Well, I am going to save this. Oh, that's Luke Rudkowski in the back. Save image as Viva. Okay. So that's it. This is what we're going to do now. I'm going to go and I'm probably going to have a Red Bull. After all the coconut juice, I'm going to go have a Red Bull because I'm and I'm weak. What's wrong with that? There's a song by AJR. Hold on, we can do it here because I don't want to get copy claimed. AJR, I'm weak. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to play it, actually, just because everybody should go watch it. Just make sure it's the right song. There you go. This is it. Okay, everyone go listen to this. It's a great song. Let me see. I have to go to locals to share it. It's a great song, and I'm a little weak, and I'm going to go still try to get over my stupid last-minute decision to sell Waltz and buy Shapiro. Gosh darn it. Stupid stuff. That's stupid. That's superficial. I can understand that. Link to song. I think it's a good song. Okay, go. Listen to it, and oh my goodness. Just reply to Ben Stiller's tweet. Is that, who made a black version of Viva? Oh my god, that's horrifying. I can't even save that. If I save that on my computer, that is cancelable transgressions right there. Okay, go listen to that song. It's good, and I'm gonna go have some fun now. See what the kids want to do. Everybody, locals, thank you all for being here. I will see you tomorrow. We're out of here tomorrow, back home, and back with the Unusual Suspects on Friday. That's it. I'm getting Tommy Robinson. Hopefully I won't have to do 2 streams in one day. We'll get him tomorrow, and then Chris Pavlovsky. Stay tuned. We out, locals. Thank you. And I will send some pics of updated stuff this afternoon. Go and enjoy the day. Peace.